Hey everyone, it's me, Danielle, and boy, has this been a week. I am located very close to the fires near LA, and in LA. I had gone this week a couple of days without power. I don't know if other states do this or they know anything about it, but when we have windy days, Edison shuts off our power to try to prevent fires from starting, from trees and power lines falling and sparking a fire. We have a lot of hillsides and a lot of open space where fires can get started, and kind of with the wind, um, the fires can spread very, very fast, as I'm sure you guys are seeing on TV. Um, Excuse me. I've heard people say that the winds this year were worse than average. I actually was born and raised here, and I think on the day of the wind, when the fire started, we had gusts up to 61 miles per hour, is what it said on the weather app. And also on the warnings, I think they were saying it would be about 60 miles per hour. Uh, to me, that was a lot, but we've had that my whole life. We've had the Santa Ana winds. We've got different pressure over the desert and the ocean because of their temperature differences during certain parts of the year, and it will cause high pressure and low pressure, and so the air shifts between, or makes this cycle where the high pressure, the air goes up and across to the low pressure, and the low pressure, the wind goes down over to where it's high pressure, or whatever the cycle. Uh, but it's just very normal here, and because we've got a lot of canyons, the air kind of funnels through and gets quite strong. Um, but I wouldn't say that this year was stronger than other years, because I remember, well, since I was a kid, semi trucks would get blown off the freeway around here. We've always had fires, always. And what else? Oh, I remember in 2020, we had a day where we had 75 to 100 mile per hour gusts and no power. So we're sitting there by candlelight. Um, and I don't remember which fire started that year. Our property, the fence was like picked up and thrown at the house. Sounded like a train. It literally, the wind sounded like a train going by. It was crazy. Uh, on the night of the wind this last week, I was awake most of the night. My dog kept getting scared because of the wind. And there was a gust that I could hear my whole house sort of like uh move. I mean, it didn't move the foundation, it's just the walls like sort of pushed. I heard it. I heard something hit my roof as well, but in the morning it wasn't there, whatever it was. So that being that, I didn't have power and everything, and the fires did start in the Palisades. That's 17 miles from my house. The winds always were moving away from my house um, the whole time. So I was never evacuated. However, there was the fire that started in the valley. Now, that one is just on the other side of a mountain from me. The winds were in my favor again, but they could have shifted at any time. And so I packed my car with some of my things that I would be devastated if I lost. Obviously, not everything that I don't want to lose, but like some, pictures and things like that are what you kind of put in your car. Irreplaceable things. And then I haven't had to evacuate. The fires are not completely out, they're still going. I think they're better contained. It's not as windy, although I do have wind warnings for today and Monday and Tuesday. So, we'll just have to cross our fingers. What I did want to talk about is some of the things that I've been seeing since the fire started. Um, I'm just going to share some pictures like this one. Now, I'm seeing this on social media, And it's bad enough that the fires break out and 10,000 structures have burned. Some of them are historical, some of them are architecturally significant to Los Angeles. Some restaurants that we all have fond memories of eating in Malibu and looking at the ocean, like it's where we would take any tourist who would come to visit us in LA. So, it's very devastating to us, but also all the families that have lost their homes and their photographs and heirlooms and things that mattered to them. They didn't have much warning to get out, uh, and I don't know how, if they were even home when the fire started and could get out, get their things, but or their animals or anything. So it's very devastating. But I started noticing that a lot of the neighborhoods that were burning were pretty affluent. Pacific Palisades are mansion. I mean, they're very expensive homes. Malibu is an expensive area. When the fire started in the valley and the wind was blowing it towards Calabasas and they were having evacuation orders, I was like, wow, this is just crazy. Sunset as well. There was a fire there at the Hollywood Hills. That the Hollywood Hills is also a very expensive place to live. And Calabasas is where like movie stars live who don't want to live inside LA, like Will Smith and the Kardashians and stuff live there. So I'm like, this is starting to feel a little targeted. But so, when I go on social media and I see this, it doesn't look like there's a whole heck of a lot of empathy for Los Angeles. Um, the events that are unfolding are designed to wake up even the sleepiest souls. So here's another analogy to us people being not awake because we don't maybe share a belief system. Um, Here's one. Californians, help save us from the fires. And then California's response, best we can do is lesbianism. Now, this has to do with maybe people like there being a diversity in hiring for, I don't know, the fire department or whoever. I don't know what this is. And then here, this is a good one. This is like the day of the fire. There's the fire, and here's the solution, the ocean right there. So how do we pump that water to that fire? How is this helpful? The craziest part about these posts that I'm sharing right now is that they are being posted by people in the spiritual community. Like it's one thing if it's just, I don't know, some regular Joe Blow. But when it's a community of people that you would think have empathy for others or some sort of higher spirituality, you would think they would go above this. And so I've seen this before. I've seen this when other things have happened. I remember when the hurricane hit North Carolina, day one, conspiracies, and all that. But to sort of allude that every single person affected by these fires in California are a pedophile is kind of crazy. And I understand that there are, the Sean Combs, Puff Daddy stuff coming out, and terrible things happened and victims coming forward, lots of victims too, by the way. And I'm sure there's going to be celebrities who are going to be implicated in all of this. But that being said, that doesn't mean that every single person affected by this fire is involved in this. So empathy, I feel like, where is it? How come? And I've thought this before. I thought this when the hurricane hit North Carolina. I think about it every time there's a mass shooting and people on day one start fighting about the politics of gun laws or whatever and not thinking about the families who lost loved ones. And I'm like, where is the empathy? As people who are growing our abilities, should we not have some empathy first? And then, maybe we worry about what laws maybe we changed because of what happened and things later. But my goodness, be supportive to the people. And on top of that, of course, there's tons of misinformation being spread. Now, when I see something, and I will say this again, I am not on social media to get my news, okay? I'm on there to connect with people, people that I care about. So I don't want to learn about my uncle's political ideas in Arizona or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. But people keep doing it anyways. And one of the biggest things that people do is share. They hit share on things that they saw and upset them or triggered them. And so they share it right away. They don't research it, they don't look to see if there was any facts about it. So, you know, I just wanted to say like, hey, when you see something, research. And I know that we don't trust the media, and I know we don't trust this, that, and the other. And we have some of our own ideas as well that we believe, maybe biasing, making us biased, whatever. But we we still have to look up and see what's real and what's not real, because there's so much false information out there. And one way I would say that I like to sort of confirm something is to check to see if an article I'm reading is citing any sources, like the reporter is interviewing people who would know because that's their job to know, or having any sort of evidence. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, let's stop just quickly hitting share all the time because you're reading something that agrees with what you already think, and make sure that you're not part of the problem of spreading misinformation. I think that would be really, really important. Um, yeah, so empathy. Like, we are supposed to be growing our heart chakras and feeling connected to each other. And so if we are spreading hatred, divisiveness, misinformation, then we are not connecting to each other and we're not feeling connected at the heart. We're not growing our heart chakras, you know? I think we can all do a quick test on ourselves at this point. Um, I know I caught myself years ago, like if somebody would say to me that they or a loved one was diagnosed with lung cancer, I felt like the first response for me would be to say or ask, did they smoke? Um, and I had to catch myself, and I did this years ago, but I still hear other people doing that. You know, I'm not saying I'm like, that makes me better than anyone. I'm pointing it out that I did it too, and that I felt like, why was I doing that? Was it so I can evaluate how much sympathy to have for the person because maybe they caused their own illness? Are we going to do that about every illness? You know, I remember when my daughter was diagnosed with diabetes, and one of my friends, when I told her, like, we were being discharged from the hospital, and they said, that's because you fed her shitty food, like blaming me for causing my daughter's diabetes, which is type 1, by the way. It's not caused by diet. So it was not very empathetic, that moment for me either. But these are the kind of things we do. We respond. My mom's had throat cancer. Did she smoke? You know, like the first question anyone asked. No, she didn't smoke. Okay. Um, but it's still, why do we ask this question? Why do we need to measure out how much we're going to feel empathy for what the person is going through based on whether they caused it or not? I don't know. It's just like they're struggling, they're upset, they've got a hard road ahead of them, and all of that, you know. So I did want to talk about empathy. I've got more to talk about as far as flames go. This is just flame upon flame time. Because I did spirit guide art for twin flames, and I want to talk about that as well. But I do think that we should evaluate ourselves and where we are with this. How are we responding, you know, when there's a catastrophe for other people in the world? Are we quick to politicize it? Are we quick to argue? Are we quick to point blames and try to and repeat misinformations. And I don't know. I just think we're coming to a time where we're supposed to be shifting and raising our vibration and growing, and we should be doing that together. And so I think we need to all just take a little bit of stock, inventory of our own hearts. Um, and I've felt this way about other catastrophes, not just the one that I happen to be in the middle of. So, I watch the reactions on social media, and I do have to say that I am more hurt by the people who are supposed to be spiritually more evolved, higher vibration, and helping others. So let's all have a little look-see at our heart. Okay, so I was hired to do spirit guide art for a couple, and I've never been hired to do both parties of a couple before. It's well, no, that's not true. I have one other time, but what I didn't expect was to find out that they were twin flames. Well, what's a twin flame? Let me pull up what it says online. Twin flames are people who are said to be soulmates who have split into two physical bodies. Characteristics: instant connection. They may feel like they've known each other forever or like they're meeting themselves. Strong attraction. Similarities, similar qualities, passions, or insecurities. Emotional intensity. The twin flames can be intense and challenging. In turbulence, twin flames may experience periods of separation and amplified insecurities. Now, most times when I hear people talking about soulmates and twin flames, I feel like they are sort of romanticizing it, and it's always about romantic relationships. And people are always looking for that, like it's a Hallmark thing, Hallmark card, soulmate. But from what I understand, what a twin flame is that we are a small bit of a bigger energy, our higher self or highest self that has individuated from a direct source, the great central sun, and our higher self, our big ball of energy, can send off small pieces of energy to incarnate. And some, because we live in linear time, they think of it like as past life and future life and reincarnation and this, that, and the other. But apparently there is no such thing as linear time on the other side. And so in actuality, your higher self can throw off all these incarnations at once, all these little sparks of energy to incarnate all at the same time. And so knowing that, it wouldn't be so surprising, except to our brain that thinks in linear time, that you might be dating another aspect from your higher self ball of energy, right? Or you may be a relative, or maybe your cat is a spark from that higher self energy. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. But it can be happening in the same linear time as you are living. I became aware of this a couple years ago. Well, I had a best friend for 10 years. We were best friends. We worked together, we tattooed, we traveled together, had a great time. And she passed away in 2020. And then she showed up to one of my shaman appointments. And that's when Michael explained to me that she was my twin flame. One light that divides and makes two. Okay? We were not romantic together. We're heterosexual. We didn't date. It wasn't romantic. We were best friends though, and we did have a falling out. And so I feel like we could end up getting like pretty intense lessons when we're dealing with our twin flame. Um, but that doesn't mean that people don't end up marrying and living together with their twin flames. So anyways, I get hired and I'm doing the girls reading first. And I saw that she was an Arcturian. Her first spirit guide was an Arcturian. That was her. Um, and then I saw she had a siren uh, spirit guide that was very similar to one I've drawn already for somebody else. Then I saw a purple dragon, um, which is really cool. I love when I see dragons because I'm dragon lineage too. And I saw that she had a life studying magic with Merlin as a sorceress, and I saw her spirit animals. She had a dog in spirit with her that I think was a pet. A giraffe, wolf, and an owl were on her spirit team. So days later, I meditate again and I'm connecting to the fiance, and I see an Arcturian that looks just very similar to the one that I saw for her. Um, and then I saw a purple dragon, and I was like, wait a minute, is that the same purple dragon? So, it's the same dragon. They're both, the dragon is them, it's their higher self. The bigger ball of energy can uh, represent itself to look like a dragon, or it is, they are dragon lineage. So, um, and that's how I figured out. And then I saw that he had a life as a wizard, sorcerer, and it was with Merlin, and they were together as a married couple in that life as well. The interesting thing about his reading is I didn't see the same animals. Um, I saw, well, the dog in spirit I saw a deer, a buffalo, and a rat. Now, it doesn't mean that the owl and the other animals for her are not also on his team, but they came forward. So, um, all of this resonated with her so much. I guess like when they first met, they made jokes about being twin flames and things, but they laughed it off, thinking that sounds so love and light, and made light of it. But it all resonated. She's seen the Arcturians. They were two Arcturians. They were not one Arcturian. They were both Arcturians. They incarnated together as Arcturians, um, a male and a female, and I'm sure they were together. And then she was the female, I think. Now I don't remember who was the male and who was the female. I feel like they switched once, and one was the male and one was the female that was not currently the male and female. But anyway, I did do a drawing for them, but I just did it in one drawing, and I'm going to share my screen. I don't think I'm going to post the meditation because I feel like I already talked long enough about fires today, and I don't want to bore everyone with the meditations. But there was a moment where I was like, wait a minute, and then I was putting it together like, is that the same dragon? I didn't see a siren on his team. Doesn't mean it wasn't there, just it didn't come forward. So I don't know if she incarnated that time without him or if he was there. I don't know. Maybe they can ask their own guides, or they can, get their own answers on that. I don't know if they always, maybe this particular higher self likes to always incarnate with a romantic partner. I don't know. I don't think I've done that, but right? All right, so anyways, let me share the drawing that I did. So I drew, this is the way they looked as Arcturians. A little bit different than some of the artwork I've done about Arcturians before. They were a darker blue. They had really big eyes that were low to the face. I think they looked pretty like what you think an ET looks like, but blue. So sometimes I see Arcturians that are lighter skinned, or sometimes they're human hybrids. But this is what they look like. There's probably multiple planets that have Arcturians. Maybe they're not only on one place, or they have different looks on the same planet like we do as humans. Who knows? I also worked a little purple dragon in the background to represent that higher self aspect of them. So one dragon, two Arcturians. So anyways, that's the artwork I did. I've got another one I need to get working on right now. I've got two really I need to get working on, but one for sure right away. And hopefully I will continue to have electricity. And I ordered my first generator because of all of this. I've been, the dream is one day to maybe have solar panels here on my property and a backup battery so I don't have to continue to experience power outages that can last, 4 days, 5 days sometimes. All the food goes bad in the freezer and all that, so it's kind of inconvenient. Not to mention it's also very boring to just sit in the darkness with a lantern. um, so I did just order finally today my first generator. I can't continue. Like solar panels are really expensive, so maybe one day I'll have them, but for now I just need to get the generator and be able to keep my business open. I've got guys that work with me. I have a girl that works with me, and all of our incomes are impacted when we don't have electricity. Anyways, yeah, this week is all about fire, flames, twin flames, flames licking up the back of a mountainside, threatening my home, all of it. So we'll see what the theme will be next time. All right, everyone, thank you so much for spending some time watching, and I hope you all are safe out there. See you next time. Bye.